medal parades.
Wonderful parade. What a
Oh yeah,
wonderful
I've got quite a good memory.
I think there's been a move now that it's not so much an us and them mentality where they shut themselves off in an ivory palace. They're more approachable now and want to have feedback from both the public and people that work for them.
And when you're not here, where would you normally work from? Alton. Yeah. Oh right, which is where we're trying to get the police station located on the railway station.
That's right, yes.
Well, I've sent a letter of invitation out to the person who owns the railway station, asking him to come in and have lunch with me.
Oh, brilliant.
So I can talk about it and hopefully persuade him that it's a good idea.
It's excellent, that one.
Is that a good idea?
It is, yeah.
What Pauline Clare has done is brought her own personality to the force. And I'm not saying that it's become more feminine or anything like that. It's simply that there is a different style with the Chief Constable who I believe listens intensely to what's going on, and she does respond.
Now, we've met before, have we?
No,
have we? We've not.
No, I've seen you briefly before.
Very pleased to
When
meet
you came
you.
to Barnolds at one time.
Right. And these century boxes that are being built, I mean, are they of any use at all?
They're ideal down this side.
Yes.
I say it keeps a lot of the wind and the draft away from the side. The thing is now I'm a bit warm, I've still got 7 layers on.
7 layers?
7 layers of clothing we have on now. So.
Pauline Clare is very good with people. Since taking over as Chief Constable, she's sought out members of the Constabulary. She very regularly goes and has focus groups with staff. And I think that's a great strength.
Okay, just move it a touch more. A little bit friendlier this one, okay? 2, 3. Ooh, brilliant, that's the one. I've done this before, you obviously haven't.
I haven't had it moved.
No, you often have to do outrageous things. You're really self-conscious, and after a while you get used to it. So, thank you very much. Right, okay.
After a series of local burglaries and several weeks' investigation, Joanne has arrested a suspected burglar. She's come to search his house for any evidence that may link him to the crimes.
Popping them wherever.
Watch yourself for sharps, Joe.
All right, yeah.
Oh.
Right, there's some sort of edge of a screwdriver. I know we've got some instrument marks for one of the burglaries. It might be worthwhile seizing them. A tool mark found at the scene of the spray. Yeah, whether or not he snapped it off in the process. But I'll take that anyway, just in case. I am quite crime orientated, and the process I'll undergo from the transition from detective constable to police sergeant is obviously I'll be back in uniform, but I really enjoy my role of being a detective. It's something that I want to do, and hopefully it'll be something that I can get back into as soon as I can. At least we're quite happy that there's nothing stolen property in here anyway. We've got them other 2 addresses to check anyway. I'm going to go back and interview him now. So if anything comes of it, if you give us a shout on my mobile or something, and then I can put it to him in an interview.
Okay.
In the late 60s, early 70s, women in the police service dealt with mainly issues related to women and children, things like missing persons, interviewing victims of sexual offences. And I've got to say, when they issued females with truncheons, they actually issued us with a smaller version so it could fit in our handbag. Now, I've got the feeling that that sort of decision was probably taken by a man, because when women go out on patrol, they don't actually carry handbags with them. Anyway, after a little while, things changed. When the Sex Discrimination Act came in January 1976, I was already an inspector. I'd been in charge of a group of women officers, and then overnight I found myself in charge of a group of mainly male officers. I've got to say that some of my male officers were, I think, rather sceptical about having a woman boss, and certainly went to great lengths to try and test me out, to see what I was made of, to see whether I'd turn up at difficult public order situations, to see whether I had the same knowledge of the law as the male inspectors have. And can I say, they weren't disappointed.
To keep in touch with both the general public and her officers, the Chief takes the opportunity when she can to be operational.
Go ahead.
Just repeat what that job was at the bus station, please.
It's a purse snatch. Two males have made off towards the bus station, one in a yellow jacket.
Two males,
One with a yellow
one in a yellow jacket, made off after a purse snatch.
Right. And a yellow jacket's quite a distinctive feature, isn't it? Oh.
A mugging has just been reported in Preston town centre. The chief may be in the right place at the right time.
Plainclothes officers have been dispatched to the scene, and what they don't want is a uniformed presence there at the moment. They're making contact with the aggrieved to try and get a better description of the offenders, and once they have more information they'll let us know. So Andy and I have decided that if we stay somewhere on the periphery of the incident, there's always a chance that they might be flushed out, and we're in a better position then to make an arrest.
Have you ever made an arrest on horseback?
I haven't made an arrest on horseback, I'm sure Andy has, but I've actually been trained to make an arrest on horseback, so this could be my big moment.
Joanne is back at Blackburn Police Station and has just interviewed the suspected burglar.
He basically said that he'd gone into the premises after seeing an insecure door and believing it to be burgled. He's then come out of the premises and contacted the police himself. He states that he can't account for why he should have been in the lounge at any time.
Going to be charged with the offence.
When I've suggested to him that his fingerprints have been found on a multi-plug in the lounge, he basically no commented.
And on the basis of the forensic evidence at the scene, I believe that there is sufficient evidence to charge you.
Alright Jeffrey, if you just listen to me now, you're charged with the offences below on or between Saturday the 14th of August 1999 and Tuesday the 17th of August 1999 that you stole Goodman's television, a Philips Combi television and a video to the value of £750. That's contrary to section 91B of the Theft Act 1968. What'll happen now is I'm going to take your photographs. You're photographing your fingerprints, okay? That's perfect. Good fingers to fingerprint. That's a compliment.
In the event, two suspects have been arrested for the purse snatch, but not by the chief constable.
Just touch your shoulder. There we are.
The Chief Constable sets the standard for the organisation, and in our case it's very much community-based policing, and that in itself reflects the Chief Constable's own values.
Obviously we've only got so much money to spend, but the ones that we've got to use. I thoroughly enjoy being out on patrol because so many members of the public, we stop and chat. I think it's wonderful public relations, but it's also an opportunity to tell us about the concerns. Well, if officers are rude to members of the public, then that's something which you obviously have a right to complain about.
We did have a nice Bobby up there, I don't know what it would be called.
Right.
But he was a really nice person.
But the thing is, if you are unhappy, then you shouldn't, sit and do nothing. You should actually do something about it. Okay.
Okay, thanks very much.
All right, nice to see you.
Just straight to see an inspector out.
Yeah, well, that's the inspector. I'm the chief constable.
Chief constable.
Yeah.
Very nice to meet you anyway.
Yes, and you. Right.
Were you surprised who was the chief constable?
Yeah. Yeah, I was surprised that there was even one coming out. I mean, the only time you can see them is if you make a complaint and you actually get to the police station. You never see them on the beat. In fact, you don't even see them unless it's behind the wheel being chauffeured. You've never seen one before in real life.
Trying to please everyone, trying to please members of the public in different communities is actually very, very difficult, because when you tend to please someone in one area, someone else may feel dissatisfied. But I mean that really is the nature of the job that I carry out.
The Chief Constable also has national responsibility for all police dog training issues. Some divisions have recently suffered a lot of bad press, both about cruel handlers and over-aggressive dogs.
Stay.
They are working to improve their image.
A lot of people's perception of the police dog is that aggressive animal.
Whereas in fact they're trained to stand
The searching
off.
skills is 70% of the police dog's work.
So if they
That's a
actually
small
follow
part
the
of it.
instructions, then they're not really in any sort of
None
danger.
whatsoever, none whatsoever.
I think a lot of people will assume that once they've found the person, they may then
be more aggressive, actually bite
Indeed,
the
yeah,
offender.
I think the police do receive adverse publicity in the press. I think sometimes we quite rightly deserve it because we've handled things very, very badly. I think what we've got better at doing now is apologising and explaining why things were handled badly and how what we've put in place to actually bring about improvements.
The Chief Constable also has a highly sensitive, long-running race relations issue on her doorstep. Mal Hussain, a shopkeeper on an estate in Lancaster, has been the victim of countless racially motivated attacks.
We call the police, all the police do, they come, the very same people, they just stand there drinking. Everything goes quiet. As soon as they drive off, right, it starts all over again. And it's a constant thing, right, that we use the police come, they go quiet, the police go away, it starts again, it goes on and on and on.
4,000 phone calls to the police and 2,000 documented racist incidents later.
It's quite upsetting. It doesn't do anything at all for the image of the constabulary. I think the important thing is that this incident and other incidents come to light, and it's up to me to make sure that we deal with the cases sensitively, we deal with them thoroughly, we then deal with them in a way that satisfies the complainant.
The case has been going on for 9 years, despite over 40 convictions for offences committed against Mr. Hussain.
At the end of the day, right, we are still victims of racial crime, racial violence and racial abuse.
Though the last few years have seen a marked decrease in attacks against Mr. Hussain, nothing has been resolved.
Do you ever feel ashamed of being a police officer?
I've never ever felt ashamed of being a police officer. I am extremely proud of being a police officer. There have been very, very difficult times. There's no question about it, going back over my career where the job has been very, very hard. But I have never, ever been ashamed.
A post has become available for Joanne, and she's come to collect her sergeant's uniform. Of the 15% of the female officers in the force, very few progress beyond the role of constable.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thanks very much.
You calling them?
There's no question about it that policing is very much a male domain. We as senior managers get very, very concerned that women don't want to progress to the most senior ranks.
Tunic?
No, I'll need one of those as well.
In the past, I think a lot of men were very fearful of there being too many women in the service because it was felt that they weren't physically capable of doing police work, and I think they were also very anxious about women reaching senior positions because I think it made them feel very uncomfortable. I think they felt quite threatened.
Did they always come with these on, these tunics?
Well, when you're promoted, you're issued with a standard tunic,
right,
and we put the chevrons on.
Oh, right. Because I think that's a better size, but they'll have these on.
It'll have those on.
Right.
It's better for you than that.
Yeah. Oh, it's better.
See, it was springing up before because of all the hair underneath.
Yeah, that feels perfect, that.
Okay.
Yeah, that's great.
I've never ever been conscious about being anything other than what I wanted to be. People have asked me in the past, were you ever one of the lads? Did you try to be one of the lads to be accepted? And my answer to that is no. I've been myself. I've always preferred to be more feminine than masculine. I mean, it's a matter for individuals. I think they should be allowed to behave in the way that they want to behave, and that's the way I've always felt that it was right.
Come on. Out you come. Yeah.
I've never ever looked for anything special. I've never looked for any favours. I've never looked for difficulties in situations. I've really sort of just got on with the job and believed that I was equally as competent and experienced as male colleagues.
I love doing this. It's a really, really nice way of relaxing and completely escaping from normal life.
One thing I have always been conscious about, though, is not giving people a cause for criticism. So I would never be the sort of person that would, during a meal break, go out and do shopping, maybe take time out to go to the hairdresser.